Well, the beers are all out, everyone continuing their celebrations. And we've got two races today. We bring you the Women's Elite Cyclo-Cross with another magnificent field. And here are the standings after Namur. Sanne Cant is the leader of this World Cup. She'll be in the white leader's kit. In second place is Katie Compton. That slide just disappeared pretty quickly. But the current standings mean that there are 1 point. 1 point is separating now Sanne Cant from Katie Compton, who closed in on the lead with her third place in Namur. Sanne Cant with her 6th place had a little bit of a difficult day, her second worst performance of the series so far. There we are then, running through the different nationalities. 14 nations will be taking to the start line, 55 riders, as we count our way through them. But of course, as usual, we'll pick out the riders who are animating the race at the front, and we'll mention some of the riders who are notable in the field as well. Well, last year we saw Katie Compton win this round of the World Cup. She rode away, there we are, to beat Marianne Vos into second place. But as you can see, Marianne Vos has won this race 4 times in the previous 6 outings. Katie Compton has won 2 of the previous 6, and both Compton and Vos have not been out of the top 10 at the top 2 places in the last 5 events on this circuit. So if you were going to be betting on this race today, then you wouldn't bet outside of those 2. But here we are with the riders as we count through who is going to take the start. Helen Wyman, the British champion. Nikki Harris there, who had a visit from the doping inspectors 5 minutes before she had Christmas dinner yesterday. Marianne Vos. Next to her is Sanne Cant in the white as the leader of the World Cup. Alongside is number 10, Ellen Van Looy, who was 4th in Namur. I think we're expecting Van Looy at some point to pull off a big victory. Katie Compton, the American champion, and there is Eva Lechner, the Italian champion, who was the animator of the race in Namur at the start. So these riders then getting ready for a furious power off the start line. And those lights will go from red to green, and this race will be underway. Over on the far right is Lucy Chanel Lefebvre, the French rider, just getting ready. And now we are underway. And the charge starts. And Marianne Vos, the World Cyclo-Cross champion, right there in the centre, is desperately trying to use her road speed to very good effect to try and go away from the rest of the field. But it's Eva Lechner again in the green, white and red as the Italian champion, who likes to go out and dominate the pace at the start of these cyclocross events. Onto the grass now and round the first turn, and it looks like it's Sanne Cant with Marianne Vos alongside her, Eva Lechner, Ellen Van Looy also up towards the front. By the looks of things, just as they come round, and it's a very technical course that these riders face today. Last year we saw the men's race run off at 28.1 kilometers an hour, and as you can see, you've got the alcove of the motor race circuit that some of these riders will take to from time to time. The pace then being set by Sanne Cant at the front in the white. Last week she won in Essen and really struggled on Sunday in Namur. She said to me before the start that her legs were really feeling the race from the day before, and without doubt it did put her into some difficulty. And if you've not seen this circuit before, lots of twists and turns, and they go up over this bridge that takes them over the circuit, which means that the fans can get to see them. And as you can see, it's a little bit muddy. In fact, a lot muddier than it was last year on this circuit. So Marianne Vos leading, in second place as she tries to lead through that corner. The next rider who is up there is Sabrina Stultens, and Katie Compton not having her traditional slow start. She's not too far off the front of the race, the American champion. Last year we saw Katie Compton have a very, very slow start. It took her the majority of the race to catch the front group, and then when she got there, she caught Marianne Vos and then she attacked her and went away. But the tempo certainly on at the front as Lechner leads again, trying to distance the rest of the field, and there is a little bit of a gap back to Ellen van Looy. Eva Lechner, a fantastic mountain biker, also good on the road as well, as they now go into the trees section. Not too rutted up, nice area to ride in, but you've got to be technically adept to work your way through these trees. Don't want to make any mistakes. As you can see, Lechner working very, very hard, but she did this last week, and then Vos went on the attack. But one rider we should mention is this rider here in the blue and white, just going through the picture, and that was Katarina Nash, who is in the field again, the rider who is based in the United States of America, rides for the Czech Republic, rides for the Luna Pro team, who came out and won the race in Namur. A fantastic performance from Katarina Nash, and I think we're going to see a pretty special race today, just because of the technical nature of the course and also how fast it is as well, which means that the road-based riders certainly have got the ability to go away. And right on cue we see the world road race champion, the French cyclocross champion, the darling of the French right now, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, goes on the attack, and her road teammate Marianne Vos trying to get across to them. So Pauline Ferrand-Prévot just opening up a little bit of an advantage there on Marianne Vos, and interesting the amount of times that these two riders have to ride with each other and chase each other and work for each other, as we just saw Courtney McFadden of the United States carrying her bike. Obviously a bit of a technical problem there with her bike early on. She's got it on her shoulders. She'll have to run all the way to this pits area that we can see in front of us. Well, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot last week was looking very good. She had a puncture at the wrong time, as did Nikki Harris, who punctured just after she had been into the pits, which meant that we lost two riders who had been up towards the front of the race pretty early on. But right now, Ferrand-Prévot is looking extremely concentrated today. And to be fair, as Ferrand-Prévot makes a little bit of a mistake there at the top of the climb. To be fair, if you put your Christmas day on hold and you don't have the celebrations everyone else has, then you want to put in a good performance the next day and try and win this race, don't you? Just shows the amount of sacrifice that these athletes actually make. Well, as I mentioned there, Marianne Vos has won 4 of the rounds of this World Cup here in Zolder in the previous few years. Katie Compton has been in second place on 2 different occasions. Vos absolutely loves this circuit, as Pauline Ferrand-Prévot kicks that back wheel all over the place there. These two, it's fantastic to see them racing like this. And of course in cyclocross, they won't be riding as a team. They will be riding against each other right now. This is the chasing group led by Lechner, Sanne Kant, Katie Compton are side by side. Now we're on to that really technical, hard step up, and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot struggling her way up there, having to use her hands a lot. You can see how muddy it is, really steep, and Vos has used that little technical nature of the course to her effect now as she takes the initiative and tries to go away from her teammate on the road, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. Look how hard she's working. She hauls that bike to the top of that rise, not getting off, and Ferrand-Prévot just trying to find the power to keep the momentum going forward, and Vos has disappeared. Sabrina Stulten's going through, another member of this Rabo Liv team. Such a strong road race team. Sabrina Stulten's was 10th in Namur. So far over the last few weeks, she's been riding really well in some of the other races that we see. For those of you who've never watched cyclocross previously, this is the World Cup. We also have a competition as we go through this drop-off, very, very wet and slick through there. We have the super prestige events that these riders take part in as well. And they have huge crowds as Vos now is going to make her way down towards the completion of this lap. Katarina Nash is tracking Katie Compton pretty nicely, and she had a pretty steady start last week and then caught the front of the race as we come round to complete the first lap of racing. And it is the World Cyclo-Cross champion Marianne Vos who is first across the line. There she goes, she looks around to see where Pauline Ferrand-Prévot is, and the lap time 8:29, an average speed of 22.35 kilometers an hour. Ferrand-Prévot 5 seconds down. Lechner, Sanne Cant, Sabrina Stultens, Katie Compton, Katarina Nash are the next duo on the road. And then we'll have a little look and see who is in this chasing group behind them. Being led by Lucy Chanel Lefebvre, Sophie de Boer, Ellen Van Looy, Helen Wyman. And at the back of the group, I think, is Pavla Havlikova. Then a gap back to Nikki Harris. And then a gap back to a jersey, an American jersey on a green bike. And I would say that would be Elle Anderson because she rides on the same squad as Sophie de Boer, and they both ride green bikes. So hopefully that's the rundown as we glance across to see all the different riders. Sabrina Stultens then on the front of the chasing group, just desperately trying to come back to these leaders, but meanwhile Marianne Vos has the initiative at the front of the race. She's got a definite gap on everyone else. Second place in that group in the green there is Sophie de Boer. Sabrina Stultens won the Super Prestige event in Mol on the 14th of December, beating Ellen Van Looy into second place. It's incredible, isn't it, how Marianne Vos can be away training in the sunshine and then can make Pauline Ferrand-Prévot makes another little technical error on that turn. And yeah, how she can come back and she can just settle back down into cyclocross, having ridden so well. Marianne Vos on the front then. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot desperately trying to catch.
Met Sanne Cant, die probeert dat spoor te...
This is a fantastic performance from Marianne Vos. You can see the power as she goes through the corners.
We herinneren u eraan dat Sanne Cant momenteel de leiding voert in deze wereldbeker met weliswaar
Marianne Vos onto this area where there is absolutely no ruts or anything. Looking very, very good.
En de Tsjechische kampioen, Katrina Nesch, maakt ook deel uit van de achter.
So Marianne Vos with the advantage as they look back to the chasing group here. Katarina Nash leading Katie Compton. And Pauline Ferrand-Prévot in second place.
Is nog altijd tweede op dit moment. Even kijken naar de komst van de rest van het gezelschap. Die zijn nog niet helemaal in het zicht. Dat gebeurt nu op dit moment op afhankelijk van.
This is the chasing group then. Sabrina Stultens leading Sanne Kant, Eva Lechner, Katarina Nash is in here, Katie Compton at the back of the group. And right now, Compton's got an awful lot of work to do to come back to the front of the race. And I wonder whether she is just concentrating on trying to beat Sanne Kant to go back into the World Cup lead. It'd be unusual for Katie Compton not to ride for the win, but right now she is just sitting in this group, being pulled along by the riders in front of her. Eva Lechner, the mountain biker. Katarina Nash looks like she is quite comfortable in that group, but meanwhile Marianne Vos is absolutely powering along at the front of this race, and she's just out, flat out. These little twists and turns that she goes around, she doesn't even think about coming off the bike at all. And Ferrand-Prévot, who was matching her pedal rev for pedal rev earlier on in the race, is you can just see the difference, how Marianne Vos just rode that like it was the banking of a track, and meanwhile Ferrand-Prévot is having to run up and go round, and all the rest of the riders having to dismount round here. Meanwhile Marianne Vos has just ridden right round the camber, and anyone right now is unable to match her. You can see the difference as Katarina Nash uses the top of the course there to steal a march on the rest of the chasing group. Downhill, Marianne Vos just bumping her way through the ruts. Ferrand-Prévot, I'm just looking to see whether she's got any puncture or anything like that. I don't think so. I think she just maybe has gone out a little bit too early. Has been unable to match Marianne Vos when she attacked. And look at the way she's sprinting her way up these steps. Katie Compton taking her foot out of the pedals as she gets towards the bottom of the descent there. And Marianne Vos now, her advantage is going to be pretty huge. You can see Ferrand-Prévot is a little bit tired here. She's having to clamber her way up the steps as opposed to hop up them the way Marianne Vos is right now. Katarina Nash looks like she is warming up nicely. This is what happened last week. She is 37 years of age. It takes her a little bit longer to warm up compared to the younger riders in the field like Ferrand-Prévot and Marianne Vos. And then once she gets going, she is able to claw her way back, and right now she's closing up on the second place, and she'll see Ferrand-Prévot in front of her. I'm not sure whether any rider is going to see Marianne Vos again today as she goes plunging down that little drop-off. There is Eva Lechner around that little turn. And Sanne Kant is looking better today than she was last week in Namur. As Katarina Nash now in the colours of the Luna Pro cycling team tries to close up on Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. Looked like a couple of riders had some problems here. Oops. And one rider hitting the deck, and that looked like it might have been Marlene Petit, who went into the barriers there. 3 laps of racing to go as Marianne Vos comes across the line here with a big bit of daylight between her and the rest of the field. There is Ferran Prevot in second place. 8:31 was Marianne Vos's lap time that time. And it looks like it's going to be around about 20 seconds between Marianne Vos and Ferran Prevot. In fact, 24 seconds, and around about 27 to Katarina Nash. It's still doable, you know. This race could come back together. Katie Compton is suffering at the back of this group a little bit. As you can see, Sanne Cant going away from her. Oops, a crash there for one of the American riders. Was Erica Zavita, who goes into the netting at the side of the track.
Geen gelukkig voor haar op een valse afsluiting.
Ferran Prevot hasn't really looked around, but she's about to be getting some company. Sanne Cant, that head rocks left and right when she's under pressure. And right now, she is putting in a big effort as Vos, who we have seen in these events so far. Another crash for another rider here, by the looks of things. Oops, going over the bars. And I think that was Denisa Minarikova who hit the deck there. Well, to me, Marianne Vos is using these races to hone her form ready for the World Championships in Tabor. She started her season very, very late as Sophie de Boer has a bike change in the pits area. And I think what Vos is doing is going out and riding the initial parts of the race extremely hard and then hoping she can hang on to the finish. And she knows that if she does that over this round and then the next round, she'll be dead set for the World Championships. And if she wins the race in the process, then that gives her very, very good morale. Well, Marianne said to me in Namur, she was a little bit nervous. She was worried about her form because she'd purely just been riding on the road. And already we can see just what a dominant performance she's able to put in. I think Ferran Prevot has had to throttle back a little bit. And now she may well have got her heart rate down. She's recovered a little bit. Now she's starting to put in a little bit of a charge to see if her and Katarina Nash can come back to Marianne Vos. But just look at the way she's riding this track. She's right on the limit of the corners, but she's got them absolutely nailed. It's absolutely superb to see the way she is right now.
Marianne Vos, duidelijk de beste op dit parcours. Heeft al eerder hier triomf beleefd.
Sanne Cant goes up the little climb there. Eva Lechner, who was the early leader before Marianne Vos took on the advantage there. And these two are now starting to work hard together. So in second place, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot in the colours of France and Katarina Nash, which is making them urge on a little bit. And we'll see what the gap is going to be when we get our next time split. It was 24 seconds at the finish line. Sabrina Stultens wearing number 3.
Sabrina Stultens, de dichtste bijgelegen concurrente achter Sanne Cant en
In the background then, Mark Bolan, the speaker of these World Cup cyclocrosses, all the Belgian races he commentates on. You can see him at all the events we go to, announcing what is happening. But Sanne Cant, as Pauline Ferrand-Prévot had a little bit of a look round there to see what is happening. It's the first time we've seen her do that, and Catharina Nash will be keen to keep this one going, to see whether they can catch Marianne Vos before the finish of this cyclocross. 2 laps have been completed, 3 laps left to go. And if they can get a little bit of work going on when they hit the more tarmac sections, then of course the strength in numbers will help to bring this back just a little bit. But the way Marianne Vos is riding right now means it's going to be extremely tough. Just look at the way she's going round that turn in particular. Just the way the back wheel is kicking all over the place. Using the disc brakes, she likes to use those in cyclocross now. Constantly righting the bike, just using the way that the bike is slipping and sliding all over the place, not letting that affect her at all. She's just letting the bike do its thing, and then she rights it when she needs to. Ferrand-Prévot gets off the bike again. Catharina Nash is a very, very good runner. You can see the difference though. But Catharina Nash is using the top of the circuit there to try and open an advantage on any other riders who choose to go further on down the descent a little bit. Vos, whenever she gets on a nice slick bit, she puts on the pressure. Now, I think some of you have been unable to hear the commentary for a little while. So let's bring you up to speed with exactly what has been going on. I know the technicians have been working hard, and my apologies for that. Everyone working hard to bring you this on Boxing Day. They didn't start late. These guys had no Christmas Day yesterday. So it's been an interesting race so far. Eva Lechner going out, as she always does, to try and dominate the race. Ferrand-Prévot also going on the attack, but it is this rider, the World Cyclocross champion, Marianne Vos, who is really putting the pressure on against everyone else, and is riding sections of this course that no one else is able to ride. It is a dominant and impressive performance by Marianne Vos. The revelation, though, of this World Cup so far in the last week has been the rider we just saw go through the camera, and that is Catharina Nash, who yet again is looking like she could head towards a possible podium finish in a World Cup. Her last win was in Tabor back in 2011, then she came back to Namur at the weekend, and she put in a storming performance to beat Marianne Vos. And now she is heading towards another podium position here as she starts to attack the World Road Race champion, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. And she is now going to try and ride back to Marianne Vos. 7 times the World Cyclocross champion Vos, and Catharina Nash knows that if she wants to win the World Championships in her home country, then Marianne Vos is going to be the person that she really needs to be able to stay with. And that is why she will now try and come back towards the front of the race. Meanwhile, with 2 laps to go, Marianne Vos is the leader of this World Cup cyclocross in front of a big crowd as she heads across the line again. Her last lap was 8 minutes 31. There is the World Cup leader, Sanne Cant. 1 point between her and Katie Compton, who has now disappeared a little bit from the front of this race. And Marianne Vos, just to give you an idea, is slowing down a little bit. Another lap, 5 seconds slower than the previous lap, and the gap between them, let's just have a little look now. It was 24 seconds last time. It is now around about 31. And Katarina Nash has lost 4 seconds on Marianne Vos that time. Ferran Prevot has lost 7 seconds in that lap. And there are riders really suffering here. It's so cold, 1 degree. And Sabrina Stultens is a rider who looks like she is firmly on a mission right now to try and finish on a podium place if she can. Last time out it was Katarina Nash who won, Marianne Vos in 2nd place, Katie Compton was in 3rd place. In Milton Keynes it was Sanne Cant, Katie Compton and Nikki Harris who took the top 3 places as they go through the pits area with the spray. Matt Bramier standing over there on the left-hand side, who is the boyfriend of Nikki Harris, professional rider for the Baku team, who's just walking through, always busy in the pits. And Ferran Prevot has had a race of differences here, but she looks to me like she is starting to recover from that previous effort that she put in. Sabrina Stultens finished 2nd in the Koksijde round of the World Cup. That was the round when Sanne Cant was the winner. Stultens was in 2nd place, Sophie de Boer was in 3rd. So Stultens looking for another podium place if she can. The lap times then so far, 8:29 was the opening lap, 8:31 was the 2nd lap, 8:36 the 3rd lap for Marianne Vos. And thanks to all of you who have borne with us while we sorted out the technical problems. Join me on Twitter if you'd like to, @AntMcCrossan is where you can message me, and thanks very much to all of you who have now managed to tune in on the action so far. We're going to bring you the men's race as well. Well, an impressive little turn there as Marianne Vos went through that corner, flat out right on the limit. These riders riding about 1.4 bar in their tyres, and you can hear the squeaks on those disc brakes as they lock them on to try and get through the corners. Well, there's lots of talk last week about why you use the disc brakes, why you would use cantilevers, and certainly on the Namur course the disc brakes were being used to very, very good effect. Through the trees then onto a little bit of an easier section for the World Cyclo-Cross champion, as Ferran Prevot now attacks Katarina Nash again, and Sabrina Stultens has rid herself of Sanne Cant. There she is. I think she's recovered from her position last week in a problem here for Sanne Cant, as she's one of the riders who's not using disc brakes, and as you can see, that back wheel, she's had to try and free the back wheel a little bit here, so she's having oh, look at the back wheel, it's completely buckled. So Sanne Cant's actually got quite a long way to go now until she gets to the pits. That is going to lose her a lot of places. Well, so far in the World Cup, we've seen Sanne Cant open up her campaign with a 7th place in the first round in Valkenburg. She finished 1st place in the next 2 rounds in Koksijde and in Milton Keynes, and then she was 6th last time. So she's been up and down as far as her performances are concerned. But today, that technical problem is going to lose her points. But Katie Compton, we haven't seen for a little while. So we've just got to see whether... Look at the way she's having to work. She's such a fierce competitor. Marianne Vos gets off to run round that corner as Nash and Ferran Prevot actually are working together a little bit to help each other out, trying to keep the tempo on. And finally Sanne Cant reaches the pits. So she's going to go through here. She'll get a new bike. And it's going to feel like she's had a weight lifted off the back of that machine as she remounts, and now she'll be able to get herself back into the race. But Sanne Cant certainly now has not lost too many places. She's done very, very well to hold on to her position there, despite that buckled back wheel. Well, if you're just joining us then, the current positions: Marianne Vos leads in Zolder. Second place is Katarina Nash of the Luna Pro cycling team from the Czech Republic. Third place is Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. Onto the steps again. Such a high first step that you have to hit there. Fourth place is Sabrina Stultens, who is trying now to come back and finish on the podium. And Sanne Cant, I think, is running in about 5th place right now. Ferrand-Prévot really struggles over that first step, and I'm not surprised. It's so high. And now we're seeing Marianne Vos, bike on the shoulder, having to sprint her way up the climb. And we'll see whether Katarina Nash can actually ride this section. In fact, it looks like she's going to, and that's going to help out here. So she will start to close up a little bit on Marianne Vos, who may well be tiring a little here. Well, that's an impressive bit of power there from Katarina Nash. So is this race all over, or is the world champion going to be caught yet again by this rider who is firmly on the charge? And in fact, look at this. She can see Marianne Vos in front of her. And while it looked like this race was over, Katarina Nash is doing exactly what she did last week, and now she is starting to close up on the world champion, and Ferrand-Prévot is coming with her as well. Such an impressive rider, and she is going to now have her morale absolutely boosted. And meanwhile is Marianne Vos starting to suffer a little bit. Onto the bridge, and Vos will use her road speed to very good effect. She's having to take her foot out as she comes off there. I'm wondering whether Marianne Vos has got a puncture. I'm just having a look. These tyres, they actually ride them, so they are bouncing on the rim. And I'm wondering whether Vos has got a proper puncture here, because she certainly, for the first time, is going to get some company. And with one lap of racing to go, this race, whilst it looked like it was all over, is now not, and we're going to have an absolute thriller of a final lap as the world champion is joined by Katarina Nash and by Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, and they're about to be joined by Sabrina Stultens as well. That last lap by Marianne Vos was 9 minutes and 3 seconds, and to me, Vos is not going with the same power that she had. Let's just look. You can't really tell on these tyres because Vos rides very, very thick tyres indeed, and they ride them so that they like to feel the rim when they hit the tarmac. They like to feel the rim bouncing through the tubular tyre, almost right on it. And we'll soon see whether Marianne Vos gets on another bike and then puts the power on, or whether literally she's just gone out, like I said earlier, and she's just given absolutely everything. Well, there she goes. She does get a bike. So let's see whether we see Vos now starting to accelerate. I think Marianne Vos might have had a puncture. Well, this is going to be pretty incredible, this one, isn't it? Join me on Twitter if you'd like to, at @McCrossan, at UCI_Cyclo-Cross is where you can follow us. And who do you think's going to win this one now? Ferran Prevot senses the possibility of winning this World Cup. Katarina Nash, can she now take back-to-back victories? And to me, Vos, those legs are really hurting as they go up over the bridge, down the other side. Well, cyclocross for me is absolutely thrilling, and these women, when they race cyclocross, they give absolutely nothing at all to their competitors, do they? You never know what the outcome is going to be. They are shot, whoops, and Katarina Nash hits the deck there. They go shoulder to shoulder, and they are bumping each other out the way. Ferran Prevot, there is no holds barred with this young French woman, is there? She is a rider who does not like to be beaten. There you go. She took the inside line. She puts Katarina Nash off. Well, that's the road line as far as she's concerned, and she took it. Pauline Ferran Prevot, the winner of the Flèche Wallonne this year, on the top of the Mur de Huy, with an impressive performance ahead of Lizzie Armistead as they went drag racing, if that's possible, on the Mur de Huy to the top of the climb. Ferran Prevot then went on to win the World Championships in Ponferrada, and she says there's no reason why you can't ride every discipline. She likes to ride the road, she rides cyclocross, she rides mountain bikes, and she's been the holder of 4 national titles, all at the same time in different disciplines. Now she is starting to accelerate. She suffered a little bit in the second lap of this race, and now she is right at the head of affairs. Sabrina Stulten's there in the colours of Rabo Liv. She is in 4th place, and 2 of her road teammates are in front of her, as Ferran Prevot now has got a completely different look about her. She is at the front of a World Cup. Can she now take the victory? Nash senses the possibility of winning, and it could come down to a sprint between these 3 riders. Stultens could try and get there. Thanks to Simon Hall for his message. I think you're right, a front wheel puncture for Marianne Vos. It looked like to me like she had a puncture, and it was really slowing her down. And in fact, when you look, 27 seconds was her lap time difference to the previous lap. And there is the World Cup leader. The big question is, where is Katie Compton? We haven't seen her for a little while, and there's going to be some interesting tactics now between these 3 riders. Vos is content to just sit at the back of the trio right now. Well, it looks like we've decided the podium pretty much, but let's not speak too soon. The big question is, in the finishing sprint, who is going to take it? You would count on Marianne Vos. But let's not forget, Ferran Prevot is also a very, very good road sprinter, and honestly, I don't know how fast Katarina Nash is, but Marianne Vos just made a little bit of a move to the front there. Sanakant is, I think, by my calculations, in 7th place, going to hold on to the World Cup lead. But I can't see where Katie Compton is right now, as Vos puts in a bit of an acceleration. Katarina Nash, though, matches her and goes through to the front. Well, previously, Marianne Vos has ridden that corner. This time, though, Ferran Prevot is the rider who is suffering a little bit, and Stultens goes wide to try and go with him. Look at Vos, she goes right down to the bottom here, and Ferran Prevot is 3rd round the corner, just behind Vos. Meanwhile, Katarina Nash has a little bit of an advantage on the field. She tries to accelerate now. This is a superb race. Nash not looking round, content to just stamp her way down this track to try and open up an advantage on the rest of the riders. Rides wider bars than anyone else. That was a real thud as the front wheel hit there before she went downhill, just desperately trying to stay in the rut. Now she'll turn left. Varun Prevost is slightly behind. Look at the head is rocking a little bit now. Katarina Nash clips away into the pedals. She's trying to get rid of at least one rider as they all dismount. Oh, Katarina Nash slides off again. She's hit the deck twice in about a lap. They are right on the limits of both the speed you can go around the corners, and they're also really tired. Look at that, just lost her footing. And now Vos is going to try and power on as Nash comes to almost a standstill. Varun Prevost is back on the wheel, and now Vos is going to use that. She's going to stamp her way up this little rise this time. This was the point at which she had to run, and she's almost a standstill over the top of this little bit of a push. And Vos using that power to good effect. Nash desperately trying to dig in and stay in the wheels. Varun Prevost is at the back of the trio as they go round that little technical section. It looks like the world champion has got this one nailed as she goes round that little berm and turns right. Nash is having to really accelerate to try and stay with the world champion. Vos looks around, an urgent look to see whether she has got rid of the 37-year-old rider from the Czech Republic. Well, these three truly are attacking each other and dishing us a great show here on Boxing Day. But Vos now has got the initiative. She is going to try and break away. She has a couple of seconds. Is that enough? She's going to go down off this bit. She can't get this turn wrong. Nash is in second place. Marianne Vos, after 43 minutes of racing, she has had to race this one properly like a real tough competitor. The world champion is going to win her 5th time here in Zolder. Number 1, Marianne Vos wins in Zolder, and it's a sprint between Varun Prevost and Katarina Nash for 2nd place. Nash takes 2nd, Varun Prevost takes 3rd, and that is a race to ignite anybody's Boxing Day. Sabrina Stultens now riding her way into 4th place. Never quite made it to the front. Finishes 22 seconds down on Marianne Vos. Here comes Eva Lechner. It's going to be 5th place for the Italian champion today. The Italian champion finishes now. And now it's about where Sanne Cant and Katie Compton are going to finish. Ellen Van Looy making her way into the finish line. She currently is lying 3rd overall in the World Cup. This is going to help her in the overall positions. She's going to finish 6th place today. She'll take 30 points for that place, finishing in 6th. As she looks around, and behind her is going to be Sanne Cant in 7th place, who will pick up 28 points on the day. Marianne Vos for the win is going to take 60 points. Katarina Nash takes 50. A sprint between Lucie Chanel Lefebvre and Sophie de Boer. And Sophie de Boer is the rider who takes the next place behind Sanne Cant. And Mikulaskova is the rider who finishes in 10th place. The big question is, where is Katie Compton? And I haven't seen her for a little while. This is Nikki Harris about to cross the line in 11th place, followed by Havlikova and Helen Wyman sprinting for the finish. Meanwhile, Marianne Vos zipping up her speed suit as she heads towards the finish line. She really had to fight for that, didn't she? She loves bike racing. Smiles for Marianne Vos. Front wheel puncture. Managed to hold on, but used that little acceleration through that technical section to bring home the victory. Caroline Marnie crosses the line, and there is Elle Anderson and Christine Macherus of Luxembourg, the next rider to finish. And I'm not certain Katie Compton is going to finish this World Cup today. These are riders who are a little bit further back down the field. Well, Sanne Cant started today as the official or unofficial result right now. Marianne Vos wins here in Zolder ahead of Katarina Nash in second place. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot is in third at 5 seconds. Then Stultens, Lechner, Van Looy, Cant, De Boer, Chanel Lefebvre and Muklaskova, the top 10 today. A reminder there with the Tom Musen cap on that we will be bringing you the men's race after a little bit of a break. The men's race will be starting at 3 o'clock Central European time, 2 o'clock GMT, depending on where you are and you're watching. As we caught a glimpse there of Lizzie Whitlocks making her way down the descent. And of course the bikes need to be cleaned before they're put away for the next race on the agenda. Hoogerheide will be the next round of the World Cup. That's in about a month's time. The 25th of January will be the next round. And here are the standings. Sanne Cant will be on 206 points. Katie Compton doesn't score any points today, 177. Van Looy in third, closing up on Katie Compton. De Boer in fourth place, jumps ahead of Helen Wyman, who's down to sixth. Sabrina Stultens in seventh, Nikki Harris in eighth place. So things are shuffling around a little bit. Here's the highlights. Early stages of the race, and it was Sanne Cant who was the first rider through the first few corners, Lechner as well, but Ferrand-Prévot was the main animator of the race before she started to come a little bit unstuck, and the world champion Marianne Vos was the rider who took the initiative, showing her prowess at cyclocross. Sanne Cant started to drop back a little bit, and Ferrand-Prévot and Katarina Nash were in a battle in second place, helping each other to stay motivated to come back to the world champion. Sanne Cant had a problem with a back wheel, being totally buckled, as you can see. But with 1 lap to go, it was the world champion Marianne Vos with a puncture who was caught on the final lap. Katarina Nash had 2 tumbles. This was the first one. And Katarina Nash refusing to give in, but falling again on the steps. Marianne Vos taking a thrilling victory here on the Zolder circuit. Well, I'm sorry about the little bit of audio issues we had earlier on in the race, but thanks to all of you for joining us. We should be hearing from Marianne Vos in just a moment, hopefully. And normally we'll bring you the podium. There's the Kevin Powell Supporters Club. What a big day for him it could be. Kevin Powell's leading the Men's World Cup, and there is the possibility that he could clinch the World Cup today if he can perform the way he has been doing so far in this World Cup series. Well, there's a few tired kids around this circuit after a busy day of Father Christmas yesterday. Thanks to all of you for your messages on Twitter. As always, it's great to hear from you, and I hope you all had a great Christmas. And thanks for the update from Mr. Katie Compton. Just updating us that Katie, of course, didn't finish, but she is okay. Her campaign this year not going according to plan. But the way Katie is, may well see her back at her best for the World Championships. Meanwhile, here is the world champion.
This was a very exciting last lap.
Yeah, I didn't hope it was so exciting, but in the end, for the spectators, it was a very interesting race. I had a flat tire, and I was lucky I could change bikes in the final lap.
And then in that final lap, it was very important to be the first, and that steep hill, I suppose, it was your final card?
Yeah, I knew that was going to be very important, and I tried to attack earlier on, and then Katrina Nash passed me in the uphill. But then in the final uphill, I wanted to be in front, and we came next to each other, so it was very close.
At first I thought it would be an easy win for you, but because of that tire, it all changed?
Well, yeah, I think Pauline and Katerina, they raced for second and third, but they came closer already. So I pushed them some harder. But then, yeah, I had a flat tire, and they came back.
So you're very pleased with this win?
Well, yeah, of course. I was already happy in Namur with the second place, but of course it's great to have a win in the World Cup.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Good race, Katrina.
Thank you.
Dames en heren, we zijn verzameld voor de huldiging die vanaf gaat met een tune. In Heusden-Zolder, de wedstrijd bij de vrouwen zit erop en we hebben het spannend verloop gekregen om bijna een finish af te leggen. Dames en heren, eindigt op de vijfde plaats. Het termine à la troisième place. Et le champion de France, Pauline Ferrand-Hugo. eindigt op de tweede plaats, dames en heren. Uit de Tsjechische Republiek. Zij is Tsjechische kampioene Katarina Nesch. En de zege is gegaan na een bijzonder spannend verloop. En ja, verdiende overwinning zonder meer van de wereldkampioen Marianne Vos. Bloemen gaan worden gegeven door onze podiumissen Ellen en Sophie en ook Esme, de kleine Esme, de kleindochter van parcoursbouwer Mark Dix. Mag ook aan Marianne Vos bloempjes geven en zoentjes geven, verlassen. Het is niet iedereen gegund om een wereldkampioen een zoen te geven. Dames en heren, we gaan nu nog trofeeën overhandigen. En we doen dat met het gezelschap dat daarvoor is bij elkaar gebracht. Jacques Heijnen, de voorzitter van de raad van bestuur van Cyclo-Zolder. Frank Smees, de gedeputeerde van sport van de provincie. Mario Boermans, burgemeester van Zolder. We hebben ook Jean-Claude van Rode.
There's our podium then. A great race today, pulling from Prevost in third place. There's Marianne Vos's dad smiling away. He's at all the races. Alongside on the podium, Katarina Nash, and in the middle, Marianne Vos. She said, of course, in her interview, she didn't want it to be that exciting, but she certainly smiling again as a World Cup winner. Recognise him on the left-hand side, Andre Greipel. Marianne Vos wins in Zolder, the 5th round of the World Cup. Thanks for joining me. Speak to you again soon. Bye for now.
Ja, aan de fotografen niet reageren hier, Wersner. Opvallend hoor, hoe de klank van die toestellen door je doordringt. Dames en heren, geef ze nog eens een applausje. Die 3 dames die ons hebben laten genieten van top Cyclo-Cross.